Thank you, Senator Shaheen. Senator Cotton, please.
Dr. Kahl, let's review some of your recent foreign policy judgments. In 2017, when the U.S. recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, you wrote that the decision helps Iran and further isolated the U.S. in the Middle East. But since then, the U.S. has brokered landmark Mideast peace deals. In 2019, when the State Department issued new guidance about Israeli settlements, you wrote that the move would be dangerous and destabilizing to the Middle East. But no such destabilization happened. Indeed, those peace deals happened. In 2018, when President Trump warned Iran against restarting its nuclear program, you wrote that war drums are already sounding, but no war happened. Also in 2018, when the Trump administration left the Iran nuclear deal, you said, war will be all that's left, but no war occurred. In 2019, when the Lincoln Strike Group was deployed to the Persian Gulf, you wrote, there is growing evidence we are on the path toward war, whether Trump realizes it or not. But again, no war came. Last year, when the U.S. killed Iran's terrorist mastermind, Qasem Soleimani, you claimed now Trump has started a war with Iran and Iraq. But once again, no war followed. By contrast, in 2010, as coalition forces withdrew from Iraq, you dismissed concerns about the security situation as exaggerated and said it was very unlikely to trigger a dramatic uptick in violence. So, Dr. Kahl, while you spent the last 4 years warning about impending wars that never happened, when Mideast policy was your job at the Pentagon, you failed to foresee the rise of ISIS, which launched an actual war involving 30,000 Islamic insurgents conquering a quarter of Iraq. Dr. Kahl, it seems to me that your judgments about matters of war and peace are almost always wrong. Now let's turn to some of your other writings. Can I have the first poster board, please? In 2019, in response to a story about Syria, you wrote that the Republican Party has debased itself at the altar of Trump and now is the party of ethnic cleansing. Have the next poster board, please. You further accused all Republican senators who supported foreign military aid to our partners as owning the world's worst humanitarian crisis in Yemen. That's 45 senators, all somehow responsible for mass civilian casualties, inflicted in no small part by Iran's proxies, I would add. And could I have the next board, please? And just last summer, you approvingly quoted a wild-eyed claim that the Republican Party has a death cult fealty to President Trump. Dr. Kahl, this is not about mean tweets or insulting senators. We're all used to harsh criticism up here. This is just a very small sample of the many intemperate and unbalanced remarks that you've directed at people who disagree with you about public policy. But the job you seek demands a judicious, even-tempered demeanor. You'll face disagreements every day in the Pentagon, across the executive branch, with Congress. But your long record of volatile outbursts will have a toxic and detrimental impact on your relationship with Congress. What's worse, I fear your intemperate manner will create an equally toxic environment inside the Pentagon, stifling healthy, robust debate. And there's the fact that your rants have slandered not just a few politicians up here in Congress, but the millions of troops and veterans who consider themselves Republicans. So, Dr. Kahl, how can you responsibly execute the duties of this position, having so deeply poisoned the well?
I appreciate your candor, Senator. To state the obvious, the last few years have been pretty polarizing on social media. I'm sure there are times that I got swept up in that. There were a number of positions that President Trump took that I strongly opposed. I think the language that I used in opposing those was sometimes disrespectful, and for that I apologize. I understand that the position of the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, while it's a political appointment, is not a political job. It's a policy job. one that requires me to be nonpartisan in the halls of the Pentagon and bipartisan, working with this committee and others in Congress. And I know that I can comport myself in that way because I did it the last time I was at the Pentagon working for Secretary Gates. I did it when I was at the Pentagon the first time in the Bush administration. I have a long track record of being able to put politics aside in public office and put the national interest first.
Thank you, Dr. Kahl. I'm glad that you recognize that you were swept away in the moment. I would just say that some of these tweets happened in the middle of the night when presumably you were sitting at home reading the news. The real tense moments are going to happen when you're in the Pentagon and Iran hijacks another American ship or China shoots down an aircraft. And if this is the way you respond to mere policy disagreements when you're sitting at home reading the news, I do not think that you're fit to sit in the Pentagon and make decisions about life and death. That's one reason why I'll oppose your nomination. Thank you, Senator Inhofe. Dr. Kahl, I want to be very specific here. You gave evasive answers to Senator Round, Senator Kramer, and Senator Tuberville on the ground-based strategic deterrent, the replacement program for the Minuteman missile. We are pleased to hear that you support the triad, as you said, as a general matter. Pleased to hear that you have no reason to question Admiral Richard, the commander of Strategic Command, that the Minuteman cannot be extended. But the simple and specific question is, do you or do you not support the continued full funding of the ground-based strategic deterrent as the future of the ground leg of the nuclear triad?
Thank you, Senator. Not trying to be evasive. The truth of the matter is my information on the ground-based strategic deterrent at the classified level is 4 years out of date. So it's something I'll have to get a classified assessment on, including the capabilities, the costs, and the life extension program. Based on what I know in the public domain and what the STRATCOM commander has said, I have no reason to question those modernization efforts.
Dr. Kahl, we've seen throughout this hearing that you have no issue of expressing your strongly held opinions on matter of defense policy and foreign policy. You were nominated for this position more than 2 months ago. Is it really your answer to this committee that you do not have a well-informed opinion about whether the ground-based strategic deterrent is the future of the ground leg of the nuclear triad?
I have a well-grounded opinion that all three legs of the triad need to be viable. They need to be effective, safe, secure. They need to be credible to our adversaries and our allies. As I said, I have no reason to question the STRATCOM commander's assessment, but as you know, Senator, on nuclear weapons, there are issues that are highly classified and details that I am simply not privy to. So if confirmed, I will dig into those details, and I would be happy to come back to talk to you or anybody else on this committee about that if I'm confirmed.
Well, it sounds like we're not going to get a straight answer. I will take that unwillingness to give a straight answer is that you probably don't think that we should continue to fund the ground-based strategic deterrent, as do many other members of your party, and I suspect that many members of this committee will too.